WNIT or WIN? I think the Pirates chose the latter, winning against the VCU Rams here at home in historic Walsh Gymnasium, 70-67 in this second round WNIT matchup. I'm Ben Harris alongside Cameron Kharazmi for Seton Hall's Pirate Television's post-game coverage of this WNIT matchup tonight we saw in the Walsh. Now, Cameron, overall, what do you think of this game? It was exciting down to the wire, surprisingly at one point.
A lot closer than I thought, although I will say that the Pirates had consistent control of this game about until the end of that fourth quarter. The last 5 minutes of that game really started to let it slip away. You saw some increased ball pressure from the VCU Rams. Got down to the wire, but the Pirates defense stuck it out, and you can leave home with a win.
The Pirates had a 16-point lead at one point. That disintegrated within those last 4 to 5 minutes. Now, Cam, we kind of saw the Pirates trying to slow down the pace of their offense in those winding down minutes. What do you kind of think about that park the bus strategy? Do you think it paid off? I mean, obviously it opened up an opportunity for VCU to start pressing, force a lot of turnovers. What did you kind of think about the team's strategy going down those last few minutes? It wasn't perfectly executed.
Well, you know, going into this game, I was expecting Seton Hall to come out with a more controlled offense. As we saw, a big key to their success was going the opposite direction and getting a lot of transition baskets, pushing the pace, allowing them to kind of catch VCU on their heels. You saw a lot of three-pointers in transition, a lot of transition drives to the basket. I think when that, inability to predict from the VCU side kind of got shrunk by the fact that they had known every Seton Hall offensive set down the stretch, how they're going to try to move the ball around and just kind of keep the game in check. I think it allowed them to bring some more steady ball pressure, bring some very heavy double teams, and really force the ball out of the Pirates' hands, which going into this game was going to be their strong suit for the VCU Rams.
VCU ended the game on a 9-0 run. They had the ball with 5 seconds left to go, down by 3. Lauren Park Lane made a great defensive stop. Pirates win. VCU does not complete that miracle comeback that they were so close to getting. It really came down to the wire. Like I said, 5 seconds left. VCU had that last shot, and it went nowhere. Straight air ball. Now, going into some of the individual performances we saw Lauren Park Lane lead the Pirates in scoring and assists, and we saw some great effort play from players like Maya Bembry and Sydney Cooks. Here's what Coach B had to say about Maya Bembry's hustle performance and Sydney Cooks' 19-point performance where she dominated in the post.
You know, Ben, she's one of the most selfless players I've ever coached. She just wants to win. You know, I was so pleased when she hit the game-winning shot against Creighton. You know, and she's not like, oh, I hit the game-winning shot and I come shoot it all the time. That's not what she does. She really is a winner. She's going to get the shot, she'll take it. Tonight they guarded her, I thought, really well. She made other hustle plays like you pointed out. You know, I thought they had 2 big kids that really gave Sydney all she can handle. I thought she made a great post move at the end of the game, hit a big 3 at one point too. But, you know, she wasn't feeling good. She wasn't her 100% today, and she still found a way to score 19 points and play 7 rebounds and play 30 minutes, so I give her a lot of credit. I thought she really got hit a lot today, and she just kept fighting through and fighting through. It was a physical game on both ends. It wasn't a criticism. I'm just saying she found a way to fight through, and I think early in the year she wouldn't have, and she did.
Now, Cameron, more on some of the individual performances we saw. Lauren Park Lane, per usual, I mean, she's an all-world point guard at this point, getting recognition from the conference and nationwide. What do you think about Lauren's performance tonight? What was her stat line, and how do you think she looked?
Well, having 22 points, 2 rebounds, and 6 assists, going 5 for 9 from 3, 4 of them to close out the second quarter, all of which were in the second quarter.
What a run there.
Yeah, gave Seton Hall a hell of a boost going into that, going into the second half. Going into this game, I think both of us thought that given how good VCU's perimeter defense was, that she was going to play the part of a distributor. Get the ball down to Cooks and some of the other front court players, and allow them to flourish and provide some variability on the outside with her shooting. As it turns out, she was able to take over with her shooting. It felt like every big bucket that Seton Hall was looking for, she had. Every answer that VCU gave to Seton Hall, she had an answer back. She was the offense. She was the lifeline for the Seton Hall team, and it speaks to her, national recognition as a player that she was able to win us out in a postseason game.
Absolutely. And now, Andrea Espinoza-Hunter didn't have the hottest first half, but she was making a lot of hustle plays, diving for loose balls, tying people up. What'd you kind of think about her performance and how she improved in the second half?
Well, the most striking thing is the fact that she stands out as a very strong vocal leader. You saw her constantly, running plays for the team, picking up teammates after, fouls that they didn't like. Or
talking to Tony on the sideline.
Exactly, making sure that the offense was being ran and that they were in defensive position, as she was watching Lauren Park Lane take over. All that stuff doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but in a game like this makes all the difference. She really made it up with her offensive performance in the second half. You saw a lot more aggressiveness, going to the basket, some decent shooting from the outside, getting at the free throw line. All those played a factor tonight, and I think she gave a really strong performance. A lot of it not on the stat sheet, but hey, that's what you get when you have a leader out there.
Yeah, I mean, Andra is known as a shooter, but going 0 for 5 from deep and still being able to pull out the win, making a lot of those effort plays is important. Now, someone else that was making effort plays, Maya Bembry. Coach talked about it just a little bit ago, but 0 points and 11 rebounds. I mean, that's the kind of hustle stat line you love to see.
A Dennis Rodman level performance tonight.
Absolutely.
Just playing the role and allowing the Scotty and Jordan, the Lauren Park Lane and the Andre Espinoza-Hunters to really make their mark tonight.
Absolutely. And then down low, Sydney Cooks was playing well from the very beginning. I knew that with VCU's front court being their weakness, that Sydney would have to have a big game, and she came through. 19 points on 9 of 20 shooting. Pretty solid, efficient stuff. She also got a number of rebounds, I believe 7, and just a very efficient night from Sydney Cook. She was making some great post moves, and like Coach Bozzella said, she made a very clutch play down the stretch.
Felt like she had the golden touch around the basket. Felt like every time she had, a decent lane or wasn't drawing a double team, that she would take advantage of that matchup, was able to draw fouls, was able to draw the VCU bigs in. I think it played a really strong factor in Seton Hall controlling the tempo of the game, giving them options outside of their perimeter players, as you saw VCU get a lot more aggressive with some of the double teams at the perimeter. I think she had a great performance tonight, the kind of performance that you need from a player like her. And, having a well-balanced offensive attack is the kind of thing that wins for any basketball team in any big game. And the fact that Seton Hall's gotten that in the last 2 matchups has been really, really strong.
Round 1 win over FDU. Round 2 win over VCU. Who's up next? The Drexel Dragons, Cameron. Tony B had some things to say about their upcoming opponent for the Sweet 16 here in the WNIT.
I know, Ben, they're 28-5, and Drexel's really good. And they play a very similar style to Villanova and Princeton. They're very well coached. They have, very talented players. I think they finished first in the CAA, and they lost in the finals by 4 points to Delaware. So, like I think we are, they are an NCAA team as well. So it's going to be a great battle. But when you get to the Sweet 16, you're going to play someone good. We're not going to have some team coming in here that's not good. So we're blessed to host. We're blessed to be the better seed, higher seed, and we need to take advantage of it.
Again, that upcoming matchup against Drexel should be a good one. It's always tough basketball here in the postseason. Going to be exciting to see how the Pirates handle Drexel. I mean, they're a 28-5 team. Coach said it. They're very solid. They're a conference champion. These are contenders here. Now, what do you want to see the Pirates improve upon from their game tonight and be able to take into that one and hopefully advance to the Elite Eight?
Well, going into it, you expect it to be a tough matchup also because of the, proximity of the opponent. Drexel, not that far from here, only about 2.5 hours away. You're going to see some of their fan base flood in. But going into, next game's performance, you would like to see Seton Hall handle ball pressure a little bit better. Passing out of double teams felt like a big-time weakness for them. You saw near the end of the game having turned the ball over a lot more than they actually wanted to. Bringing the ball up the floor a little better, trying to find plays that make sense and that are consistent and that are a little slower. You saw them anytime they kind of got a little pressured, especially down in the front court. They tried to make some nifty cross-court passes that just didn't really hit the mark, allowed VCU to use their length on the perimeter.
And allowed them to kind of come back into this game toward the end.
Yeah, and some of that defense down the stretch was a little questionable. It felt like they weren't applying too much pressure on VCU, and they were allowing them to swing the ball in a manner that was efficient for VCU, and got kind of sloppy as far as Seton Hall defenders trying to, make that steal and try and ice the game rather than just, lock down on the good defense that they've been playing all game. Physical defense. Felt like they got sloppy and felt like they, played out of character near the end of that game. So just doing that, being more controlled. Anytime you go into, better teams, better opponents in the postseason, you're going to see a lot of those weaknesses exploited even more. The defenses are going to get better, and the looks are going to get harder to get. So those are just some things that they can improve upon in the next game, the Sweet 16 game against Drexel.
I love postseason basketball, and luckily we'll get to see more of it right here in the Walsh Gymnasium as the Pirates take on Drexel. Now, for Cameron Kharazmi, I'm Ben Harris signing off for Pirate TV's postseason coverage of Seton Hall versus VCU. Pirates win 70-67 here in the WNIT.